Welcome to 10-Minute AI. I'm Dr. Jonathan Luckett. Together, we'll unpack big ideas in AI, one quick bite at a time.
Today, we're heading to Memphis, Tennessee, for a story that feels like something out of a movie. It's a high-stakes showdown between one of the most powerful tech projects on the planet and a historic community that is literally fighting for its right to breathe. So let's break this down. In one corner, you have this technological giant, a supercomputer so massive they call it Colossus. And in the other, a neighborhood called Boxtown, a community with roots stretching back to the Civil War. It's a classic David and Goliath story for the modern age, and the battleground is the very air they breathe. All right, first things first, let's get a sense of the sheer scale of the Goliath in this story. We're talking about Elon Musk's XAI supercomputer built for one purpose, to power the AI chatbot known as Grok. Now, this is not your average data center, not even close. To train an AI this huge, you need an absolutely insane amount of computing power. We're talking something like 200,000 of the most powerful graphics processors, or GPUs, all humming away at the same time. And where do you put all that hardware? Well, Musk's company took over an old factory and built a facility so big that the main building is the size of 13 football fields. And get this, they built it in just 122 days. Just incredible speed. The amount of electricity this thing needs is just staggering, enough to power about 100,000 homes. And to get that power up and running fast, they turned to methane gas turbines. And that decision? Well, that's where this story really kicks into high gear. So for the city of Memphis, the arrival of XAI wasn't seen as a problem at all. For them, it looked like a golden ticket, a chance for a city that's been hungry for an economic boost to get a piece of the AI pie. You had city leaders, including Mayor Paul Young, who saw this as a huge win. For them, it wasn't just about one company. It was about locking in a future with high-tech jobs and bringing in major tax revenue. They were all in. So the official story, the public pitch, was all about progress and prosperity. The vision was to turn Memphis into a new tech hub, a massive investment that could totally reshape the city's future for years to come. But here's the thing. The land where this shiny new future is being built, it has a long and pretty complicated past. So let's shift gears and talk about the David in our story, the community of Boxtown. This is not just any neighborhood. Its name tells you everything you need to know. It was founded by formerly enslaved people who, wanting a place to call their own, literally built their first houses from scraps of old railroad boxcars. It's a place built on pure resilience. And as you can see from this timeline, their current fight is not happening in a vacuum. This is not their first rodeo. From a coal plant that left behind tons of toxic ash to just a few years ago when they successfully blocked an oil pipeline, this community has a long, long history of standing up to industrial projects in their own backyard. Activists on the ground, like Heshawn Pearson, say there's a clear pattern here. They believe that industries have targeted South Memphis, a predominantly Black community with a median income under $37,000, again and again, because they see it as the path of least resistance. Okay, so what is the specific threat that has everyone so worried? Well, it all comes down to what's pouring out of those methane gas turbines that are powering that massive supercomputer. According to the manufacturer's own data for the turbines, they kick out some nasty stuff. Two of the big ones are nitrogen oxides, that's a key ingredient in smog, the stuff that makes it hard to breathe, and formaldehyde, which is a known poison. Both are linked to really serious health problems. And get this, according to an analysis by the Southern Environmental Law Center, because XAI was operating without a permit, it likely became the single largest industrial source of smog-forming pollution in the entire county. We're talking more than the local chemical plant, more than the oil refinery, and more than the airport combined. And here's why this is so critical. This new pollution isn't being pumped into some pristine, clean environment. It's being added to an area already in the middle of a public health crisis. I mean, look at this data. Parts of this area already face a cancer risk 4 times the national average. The county gets an F for air quality and leads the whole state in ER visits for asthma. So, when faced with this new threat, What did the residents of Boxtown and their allies do? They leaned on that long legacy of activism, and they started speaking up, loud and clear. At a public hearing that was packed with people, a 27-year-old resident named Alexis Humphreys stood up, held up her inhaler, and asked this incredibly simple, powerful question. It just cuts right through all the noise, and it makes all that data we just looked at deeply, deeply personal. And to really wrap your head around the disparity at the heart of this conflict, just look at this comparison. An analysis found that the annual carbon emissions from one person's private jet travel are about the same as the combined yearly emissions of over 500 residents of South Memphis. It's pretty stark. For veterans of these environmental fights, people like Eastern Knox, who also fought that by Holly pipeline, this isn't just about their own health anymore. It's about making sure the next generation has a safer future to look forward to. So did all this community pressure actually work? Well, kinda. After all the outcry, XAI did make some concessions. The company said it would remove some of the turbines and promised not to use them at a new site they're planning. But for a lot of people on the ground, the trust is broken, and the fight is far from over. And really, this local fight in Memphis, it blows up into a much bigger question. It's a question that communities all over the country are going to have to face as this AI boom just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It all boils down to this fundamental conflict, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the promise of progress, of economic growth. But on the other, you have the price, the potential health risks, the environmental damage, and the question of who carries that burden. So this story in Memphis, it's not just about one supercomputer. It's not just about one neighborhood. It's a test case for our future. As the demand for AI power grows exponentially, it leaves all of us with a really big question to think about. What's the true cost of all this progress? And more importantly, who gets to decide who pays the price?
That's today's 10-Minute AI. I'm Dr. Jonathan Luckett. See you next time for another fast take on the future.